Hey son, how was your day at school?
It was good, Dad. We learned about the present simple tense in English class today.
Ah, the present simple tense. That's an important one. What did you learn about it?
Well, the teacher explained that we use it to talk about routines, habits, and facts.
That's right. Can you give me an example?
Sure. Like when I said, I wake up at 7 o'clock every morning. That's using the present simple tense to talk about my daily routine.
Excellent example, son. What else did you learn?
We also learned that for third-person singular subjects, we add an S to the verb. Like, he eats breakfast at 8 o'clock.
Exactly. And what about negative sentences?
We use do not or does not before the base form of the verb. Like, I do not like broccoli, or she does not play soccer.
Right. And what about questions?
We invert the subject and the auxiliary verb. Like, do you play video games? Or does he have a pet?
You have got it down, son. Understanding the present simple tense is crucial for English communication. Keep practicing, and it one will become second nature to you.
Thanks, Dad. I will make sure to practice more.
Anytime, son. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask me.
Actually, Dad, I have a question about irregular verbs in the present simple tense.
Sure thing, son. What's on your mind?
Well, our teacher mentioned that there are some irregular verbs that don't follow the usual pattern of adding s for third-person singular subjects. Like go becomes goes instead of goes.
Ah, yes. Those are the tricky ones. Some verbs have their own unique forms for the third person singular. Can you think of any other examples?
I think it becomes has for third-person singular. So, I have a dog, but she has a cat.
That's correct. And there are a few more like do becomes does and say becomes says. It's important to memorize these irregular forms because they don't follow the regular pattern.
Got it, Dad. I will make sure to practice those irregular verbs too.
That's the spirit, son. Learning a language is all about practice and repetition. Keep up the good work, and you will master the present simple tense in no time.
Thanks for your help, Dad. I feel more confident about it now.
Anytime, son. I'm always here to support you in your learning journey. Just keep asking questions and seeking knowledge, and you will go far.
Dad, one more thing. Our teacher mentioned something about using the present simple tense for future events. I found that confusing.
Ah, I see why that might be confusing. Yes, sometimes we use the present simple tense to talk about future events, especially when they are scheduled or part of a timetable.
So, like when I say, the train leaves at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning?
Exactly. You got it. Even though the event is in the future, we use the present simple tense because it's a scheduled or planned action.
That makes sense now. So, for future events with a specific time or date, we can use the present simple tense.
That's correct. It's one of the nuances of English grammar that can be a bit tricky, but with practice, you will get the hang of it.
Thanks, Dad. I appreciate you explaining all of this to me. English class is starting to make more sense now.
I'm glad I could help, son. Remember, learning a language is like solving a puzzle. Each piece might seem confusing at first, but as you put them together, you will see the bigger picture. Keep up the good work.
Dad, one last question. What about future events that are not scheduled or planned?
Ah, that's a good question, son. For future events that are not scheduled or planned, we typically use different verb forms like will or going to.
So, like when I say, I will visit Grandma next week or I'm going to start exercising?
Exactly. Those sentences use will and going to indicate future actions that have not been arranged or scheduled. It's a different way of expressing future tense compared to using the present simple tense for scheduled events.
I see. So, if the event is already scheduled, I can use the present simple tense, but if it's not scheduled or planned, I should use will or going to.
That's correct, son. You are grasping the concept well. English can be complex with its various ways of expressing the future, but with practice, you will become fluent in using them all.
Thanks for explaining, Dad. I think I understand it better now.
You are welcome, son. Don't hesitate to ask if you have more questions. Learning is a journey, and I'm here to help you every step of the way.
I appreciate that, Dad. I will keep practicing and asking whenever I'm unsure about something.
That's the spirit, son. Keep up the enthusiasm, and you will excel in no time.
Dad, one more thing about the future tense. What if I want to express something that is a planned arrangement but not necessarily a part of a strict schedule?
Ah, I understand your question. In that case, we can still use the present simple tense if the arrangement is somewhat informal or flexible. For example, we meet for lunch every Tuesday or she visits her grandparents once a month.
So, even though it's not a fixed time like catching a train, it's still considered a planned arrangement, right?
Precisely. The key is that there's a regular or habitual element to the arrangement, even if it's not as strict as a scheduled event. In those cases, the present simple tense is appropriate for expressing future actions.
Got it, Dad. Thanks for clarifying that. English grammar can be quite nuanced, but I feel like I'm starting to grasp it better now.
You're welcome, son. Understanding these nuances is a significant step in becoming proficient in English. Keep practicing and asking questions, and you will continue to improve.
I will, Dad. Thanks for your guidance and patience.
Anytime, son. I'm proud of your dedication to learning. Keep up the good work.